Hello. Today we are going to cover perceptual, functional, and formal regions. For your bell work, you are simply writing our claim down for this unit. So last unit, our claim said geographers make maps to identify the locations of places. So you guys had to look at that at the end of the unit and make your own thesis based on what we learned about around that claim. So this is our claim for this unit. So as we go through this unit, I want you to keep this claim in mind. How do you feel about it? Do you agree? What are some evidence to support and challenge it? So the claim is regional boundaries separate places that are completely different from each other. So write that down for your bell work. Your objective for today is to learn about formal, functional, and perceptual boundaries. All right, so on your paper, you will see that there's a table for you to take notes on the two sources we're going to look at. And each section of that table, for each source, you're going to answer a couple of questions. So we're going to examine the maps, that's our first step. Then in that table, you're going to answer these questions. Judging by the titles, what information would you expect to learn from each? What does a change in color represent in each map? And then each source has an additional question within that table that you'll be answering. All right, so for source 7, remember the first thing you're going to do in the table is write down what you think the map is going to show us based on just the title. So let's read the title. Which states do you consider part of the Midwest? That's the title of the map. So what do you think this map is going to tell us? Once you're done jotting that down, we're going to analyze the map. So percentage classifying each state as part of the Midwest from a survey of 1,300 people, right? Identifying some or a lot as Midwesterner. I had to read this a couple times first. I feel like it's worded oddly, so let me explain. They gave a survey to 1,357 people and asked them to identify their state as whether or not it's in the Midwest. Okay, so we're going to look at one example first, or we're going to look at the bar first. So the lighter the pink, the fewer people said that it was part of the Midwest. The darker the shading, the more percentage of people said that that state was part of the Midwest. So for example, 10% of respondents, those are people who took the survey, considered Wyoming to be part of the Midwest. Only 10%. So if they asked 1,357 people, that's about 130 people. 81% of respondents considered Illinois to be part of the Midwest, right? So you see how Wyoming is a very light shade and Illinois is the darker shade. That's because more people consider Illinois to be part of the Midwest, okay? I want you to take a moment, complete the notes for source 7 in the table and answer the additional questions. So go ahead and pause the video now. All right, on your table, you'll see that there's a section dedicated to just perceptual regions. So I want you to basically jot down some notes on what you think perceptual regions are or what I tell you what they are, right? So these are some facts. Perceptual regions are areas defined by people's opinions or attitudes, how they feel or how they perceive something to be, right? Areas defined by people's opinions or attitudes. These can vary by individual perceptions. So people have different opinions and attitudes towards areas. There are no clear designated boundaries. There is no commonly agreed upon boundaries since these are people's opinions, right? And there's no factual evidence to support these opinions, okay? So you can pause the video here, but I would jot down these general ideas because you will be participating in a quizzes today. It's going to ask you questions based on these notes. So take a moment and pause it. Okay, source 8 is your second source today. This one doesn't have a clear title. It just says it's from Travel Time. So based on the title Travel Time, that's the source we got it from, what do you think this map is going to show us? All right, so this map is local for us. If you look at it, the blue car, the little circle, is representing like the center of Tampa, and the pink car that's within a circle is representing the center of Orlando. The blue shaded areas are areas within a 1 hour and 15-minute drive of that blue car. So anywhere in that blue shaded area is somewhere you can access within an hour and 15 minutes if you're starting where the blue car is. Now I did this at 9 o'clock, so 9 in the morning. So this is with like 9 a.m. traffic, which is pretty heavy. So this website, you can look at like any area and any time of the day, and they'll tell you like how far you could get within a certain amount of time. So 9 a.m. traffic is going to be different than like 2 p.m. traffic, but and then the pink shaded area, those are areas within a 1 hour and 15-minute drive of the center of Orlando. Okay. Go ahead, take a moment, pause the video, and finish the notes section for source 8 on your worksheet. All right, underneath source 8, you'll see a section for functional regions. So before I pull these up, I want to explain the perceptual region notes you just took. The example of that was the Midwestern map, right? That's how people viewed those states. Those were opinions on whether they thought those states were in the Midwest, right? So that's perceptual. That those definitions we gave you for perceptual would match that map. So we just looked now at a functional map, the travel time. So I'm going to go over more in depth what a functional region is, right? Functional regions are different from perceptual regions. They typically have a central place, and then it covers the areas surrounding that. So for source 8, the central places were Tampa and Orlando, right? Functional regions are often linked by the flow or movement of something. So for that, for example, it was how far could you drive somewhere, right? Flow or movement. The central point houses the function. So what that means, for example, if we're talking about source 8, is those little cars showed the central point, and the function was how far can you drive from that point within an hour and 15 minutes. Outside the functional area, that function isn't as good or isn't available. So anywhere outside of those shaded areas, you could not drive to within an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to give you another example. If you want to look at another functional region, we could look at a pizza shop, right? Pizza shops or pizza stores or whatever typically deliver pizza, but they don't deliver anywhere. You cannot order a pizza from Jacksonville to your home in Sefner, right? So they have a delivery zone. That is a functional region. It's a central place, the pizza shop. It has an area surrounding it that they deliver to. It is linked by flow or movement of something, like you're moving pizza around. The central point houses the function, so that means like the pizza shop is the like center point, and the function is like where the pizza comes from. And any area outside that functional area isn't as functional or isn't available. So if you're not in that zone for that pizza shop, you cannot have pizza delivered to you. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so let's just take a quick second to go over these. Source 7 is a perceptual region, or a map of perceptual regions. It's people's opinion as to whether or not these states are part of the Midwest. It is their opinion or their attitude towards it. It's not a factual map. It's not based on fact, right? Source 8 is different. Source 8 is a functional map or functional region. It shows us how far a person can drive if they start in the center of either Tampa or Orlando within an hour and 15 minutes, right? It serves a function. All right, the last region we're going to cover is formal regions. This one's pretty simple. It's defined formally, often by government or other structures. There are clear set boundaries. Oftentimes, they share physical or human characteristics. There is a reason that the government or organization clearly defined these regions. So either they share a physical or human characteristic like we covered earlier this week. They can also be defined by natural features like mountain ranges, okay? So if you're talking about a mountain range, the Appalachian Mountain Trails, and you're looking at a map of the actual mountain range, that is a formal region, okay? And it is based on natural features. Take a moment to pause this video in order to jot these notes down in your formal region section of the table. All right, now for the fun stuff. We are going to do a quizzes. If you've never done quizzes before, it's super easy. So for my e-learners, first of all, just before you even get started, when it asks you for a name, you must use your full name in order to get credit. So what you do is you can close this video and go to joinmyquiz.com. Joinmyquiz.com. And a little box will pop up asking you for an access code. And this is your access code. So write it down. It's 38381280. Okay? You'll enter in that access code. It'll ask for your name. Type in your full, real, true name. Okay? And then complete the quizzes. It's just 10 questions asking you to identify certain types of maps, either functional, perceptual, or formal. You'll see a leaderboard most likely of all the other e-learners from the day. So if you're earlier in the day, there will be fewer people. If you're later in the day, there will be more people. At the end of the day, those who got my top scores will get bonus points. So I have a lot of you asking about how to get your grades up. This is one way to do it. So take your time. If you haven't done quizzes, you'll see like the faster you answer a question, the more points you can get. But if you answer it quickly and don't get it right, then you don't get any points. So answer as quickly as possible, but it's more important to make sure you get it right. If you get a bunch right in a row, it gives you like a little reward, like power-ups or different things like an immunity if you get one wrong, or you can take one again. So make sure you're paying attention to those too. Once you're done with that, you also on your worksheet need to go to the discussion on today's assignment. So if you look, everything has a date, right? So today is what, the 18th? Yeah. So under your lesson instructions where you found this, the next thing that's in there is a discussion for e-learners only. And all you need to do is answer number 1, or I think it's the wrap-up question on the bottom of your worksheet in that discussion, okay? This is meant to show me if you understand. So don't just give me like a forward answer. Give me a complete sentence. I would cite the evidence or support your claim, right? Show me that you looked at these sources, okay, and put some effort into it. Once you've made a post, then it allows you to respond to another student. You have to respond to at least one student. Again, and I have said this several times and y'all still messed it up, you cannot say I agree or good post. That is not adding any value. Everyone can do that. There is no point in you doing that. You need to add value to their post. So if you agree, say like I agree because of this, and here's a source that helps prove your point, like, or a piece of information or an opinion, right? Or I disagree because this, and tell me why, and you can use the sources to support that claim, right? Or that's similar to what I said, and then make some comparisons of similarities. Just add value, okay? So today you are completing the worksheet. You do not upload it. The wrap-up question on the worksheet, you will have a post and a response in the discussion, and then you will do the quizzes. The quizzes needs to be done, all of this needs to be done during your class time, okay? Message me if you have any questions. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys on Monday.